Imagine a young Yunus-bek Yevkurov, barely 19, stepping into the grueling world of the Soviet Naval Infantry in 1982, his heart pounding with equal parts fear and determination. Far from his home in the North Caucasus, he faces the relentless waves of the Pacific and the weight of Cold War tensions, forging resilience in the crucible of elite training. Every leap into the unknown during those early years shaped a man who would later risk everything, carrying wounded comrades to safety under fire and staring down NATO forces in Kosovo. This is the story of a boy who became a hero, driven by duty, courage, and an unyielding will to serve. How did those first steps in the Pacific Fleet ignite a lifelong legacy of bravery? Yunus-bek Yevkurov, born on July 23, 1963, in Tarskoye, North Ossetian ASSR, Soviet Union, is a distinguished Russian military officer and statesman with a notable career in the Russian Armed Forces military service conscription and early service 1982 to 1989-1982. Yevkurov was conscripted into the Soviet Army, where he served in the Naval Infantry of the Pacific Fleet. This marked the beginning of his military career, providing him with foundational experience in military operations, military education. 1989. Graduated from the Ryazan Guards Higher Airborne Command School, a prestigious institution for training Soviet and Russian paratroopers. This education specialized him in airborne operations, a key aspect of his later career. 1997. Completed studies at the Frunze Military Academy, enhancing his strategic and operational knowledge. 2004. Graduated from the Military Academy of the General Staff of the Russian Armed Forces, one of the highest levels of military education in Russia, preparing him for senior command and staff roles, service in the Russian airborne troops. Yevkurov held various command positions within the Russian airborne troops, known for their elite status and involvement in high-stakes operations. His roles included significant leadership responsibilities, particularly in counterterrorism and conflict zones. 1999. Kosovo operation. As a paratrooper, Yevkurov led a Russian task force in a notable 500-kilometer march to secure Pristina International Airport ahead of NATO forces on June 12, 1999. This operation, conducted under the Stabilization Force, SFOR, in Bosnia, stationed in Ugljevik, ensured a Russian presence in Kosovo following NATO's bombing of Yugoslavia, resulting in a tense standoff with NATO troops. This action highlighted his strategic leadership and courage under pressure. 2000 Second Chechen War. Yevkurov commanded the 217th Guards Airborne Regiment, part of the 98th Guards Airborne Division. During a reconnaissance mission, his team discovered a house holding captured Russian soldiers. After neutralizing the guards and infiltrating the building, they were surrounded by Chechen reinforcements. Yevkurov provided cover for the evacuation of wounded soldiers, personally carrying one to safety despite being injured himself. His actions led to the rescue of 12 imprisoned soldiers, earning him the Hero of the Russian Federation Award on April 13, 2000, Russia's highest honor for bravery. Intelligence and command roles. 2004, appointed Deputy Chief of the Intelligence Directorate of the Volga-Urals Military District, based in Yekaterinburg. This role involved overseeing intelligence operations, leveraging his experience in high-intensity conflicts. He also served as Chief of Intelligence for the 217th Ivanova Regiment, further solidifying his expertise in military intelligence and airborne operations. Counterterrorism. Operations in the North Caucasus. Yevkurov participated in numerous counter-terrorist operations in the North Caucasus, particularly during the Second Chechen War and other regional conflicts. His experience in these operations contributed to his reputation as a skilled and resolute commander. Deputy Minister of Defense, 2019 to present. In July 2019, by decree of the President of the Russian Federation, Yevkurov was appointed Deputy Minister of Defense, a role he continues to hold. In this capacity, he has become a key figure in Russia's military strategy, particularly in Africa, where he oversees operations related to the Africa Corps, successor to the Wagner Group, and engages in military diplomacy with African nations such as the Central African Republic, Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, and Libya. His role involves both official and shadow diplomacy, positioning him as a central figure in Russia's military and geopolitical strategy on the African continent. Awards and Honors Hero of the Russian Federation, 2000. Awarded for his bravery during the Second Chechen War rescue operation, Order of Alexander Nevsky. Recognizes distinguished service in military and state roles. Order of Military Merit. Awarded for exemplary service in the armed forces. Notable incidents. Notable incidents: 2009 car bomb attack. On June 22, 2009, while serving as head of Ingushetia, Yevkurov was seriously injured in a car bomb attack on his motorcade in Nazran. He was in a coma for 2 weeks and hospitalized in Moscow until August 12, 2009. Despite the severity of the attack, he returned to his duties by September 2009, demonstrating resilience. 2011 attack. On October 23, 2011, Yevkurov was targeted again during a national holiday, underscoring the risks he faced as a military and political figure in a volatile region. Yevkurov's military service is closely tied to his tenure as head of Ingushetia, 2008 to 2019, where he applied his military experience to stabilize the region, combat crime, and implement social reforms. His leadership in Ingushetia was marked by both successes and controversies, such as the 2018 land swap agreement with Chechnya, which led to his resignation in June 2019. His nephew, Captain Adam Kamkoev, a commander in an airborne assault company, died on May 21, 2022, during the Russian invasion of Ukraine, highlighting the personal sacrifices tied to his family's military service. An alternative history source mentions Yevkurov in a fictional context as a commander during a hypothetical Third World War, but this is not factual and should be disregarded for historical accuracy. Yunus-bek Yevkurov's military career spans over 4 decades, beginning with his conscription in 1982 and culminating in his current role as Deputy Minister of Defense. His service includes significant contributions in the Soviet and Russian airborne troops, leadership in high-profile operations like the Kosovo Airport March and Chechen War Rescue Mission, and strategic roles in intelligence and military diplomacy. His bravery, evidenced by the Hero of the Russian Federation Award, and his resilience following life-threatening attacks underscore his reputation as a formidable military leader. Conscription and early service, 1982 to 1989. Conscription, 1982, entry into service. In 1982, at the age of 19, Yunus-bek Yevkurov was conscripted into the Soviet Army, as was mandatory for young men in the Soviet Union at the time. This was a standard 2-year conscription period typical for Soviet citizens. Assignment to Naval Infantry. Yevkurov was assigned to the Naval Infantry of the Soviet Pacific Fleet, a prestigious and demanding branch of the Soviet military. The Naval Infantry, often referred to as Soviet Marines, were elite forces trained for amphibious operations, reconnaissance, and special tasks, requiring physical endurance and discipline. Role and training: Naval Infantry duties. As a conscript in the Naval Infantry, Yevkurov would have undergone rigorous training in amphibious assault tactics, small unit operations, and survival skills suited for maritime and coastal environments. This included training in weapons handling, physical fitness, and specialized skills like beach landings and ship-based operations. Operational context. The early 1980s were a period of heightened Cold War tensions, with the Soviet Union maintaining a strong military presence in the Far East due to potential threats from the United States, Japan, and China. Yevkurov's service in the Pacific Fleet would have involved readiness for potential conflicts in this region, though no major combat operations involving the Naval Infantry are recorded during his conscription period. Skills acquired. His time in the Naval Infantry provided Yevkurov with foundational military skills, including discipline, teamwork, and exposure to elite unit operations, which likely influenced his decision to pursue a professional military career. The Naval Infantry's emphasis on versatility and resilience would later align with his airborne training. Transition to professional military career, post-1984. End of conscription. After completing his mandatory 2-year conscription, likely by 1984, Yevkurov chose to continue his military career rather than return to civilian life. This decision was significant as it set the stage for his enrollment in a military academy and his specialization in the airborne troops. Preparation for officer training. Between 1984 and 1989, Yevkurov likely served in a transitional capacity, possibly as a non-commissioned officer or in a preparatory role, while preparing to enter the Ryazan Guard's Higher Airborne Command School. This period would have involved additional training and service to qualify for officer candidacy. You're passionate about history, strategy, or modern warfare. Military Legends HQ is where bravery meets knowledge. Subscribe and join our growing army of military history fans.